43-year-old Gary Ong has always believed in living life to the fullest. Having been a tennis coach since he was 26, he has coached students from Singapore, the United States, Costa Rica, Hong Kong and Taiwan. When he wasn't working, he was jet-setting to exotic destinations all over the globe. But 2 months ago, his life came to a standstill.
I felt really weak when I was having a lesson with my student. It was in the morning, and all of a sudden I just felt really weak, dizzy, and my heart was palpitating like crazy, and I was about to faint. When I went to see my specialist, they told me that my hemoglobin level was really low, and at the same time they had scopes down my throat and up my rectum to check my colon and my stomach. And through that's how they found the ulcer and the tumor that was growing around it.
Gary was told that he had stage 4 stomach cancer. Having experienced no symptoms, he was thrown into a state of shock.
And when the doctor said, "You have cancer," I couldn't feel anything. I went totally numb. I couldn't hear anything else. It was just silence. Probably subconsciously, my student felt my pain or my sorrow, something like that. And she was the one who started crying really badly. I still didn't know how to react because, I never thought in my life, I always thought that I was indestructible.
Gary had to undergo a full Roux-en-Y gastrectomy.
Gastrectomy is very simply removal of the stomach. In certain cases, when a tumor is large and the whole stomach needs to be removed, then the end of the gullet or the esophagus is reconnected to the small bowel.
In the body, the stomach plays an important role in the digestive process. It stores the food we eat and breaks the food down into a liquid mixture called chyme. It also mixes enzymes into the food mixture so that the food can be further broken down. Later, it slowly empties the semi-digested food into the small intestine. For patients like Gary, who no longer have a stomach, food travels directly from the esophagus into the small intestine. As there is no longer an organ in their bodies that functions as a receptacle to store food and perform this part of the digestive process, their diets must be carefully managed. If not, they could experience painful and even life-threatening consequences.
They can also experience what we call dumping syndrome, which the symptoms of which are nausea, abdominal cramps, and occasionally sweating and even fainting after a full meal. This is a result of the rapid influx of food into the small intestine. So we always have to advise the patient to be aware of this problem and that they should take small meals but more frequently.
Gary can no longer take foods that are high in sugars and fats as these are difficult to digest. He must eat in small portions 6 to 8 times a day so that he gets sufficient nutrition without putting too much pressure on his esophagus or small intestine. He must also eat slowly and chew his food thoroughly so that the food particles will be smaller and thus easier for the small intestine to digest and absorb. Gary must also increase his protein intake as proteins aid cell and muscle recovery.
The foods that I now try to avoid are like meats, anything that is red meats and poultry. I may have a little bit for fish just to help supplement my protein intake. And I do like a vegetarian diet, and I try to avoid anything like dairy, wheat, sugar, anything that's white sugar, processed foods.
For many of us who live to eat, this seems like a major sacrifice. But Gary, who must now eat to live, has taken this in his stride. In a show of support and solidarity for Gary, the Ong family members all sport yellow Live Strong bands. A fitting mantra for Gary, as the Live Strong brand was founded on athlete and cancer patient Lance Armstrong's ideals to fight cancer.
the most important thing is I have to take care of myself, my emotional state, and what I do from day to day, because there's too much for me to handle. So I need all of them, and they're being great. And I think because I'm strong, mentally strong, and I'm okay, you know, they are okay with it. So we feed on each other, the energy that we have, and that's how they bring me through every day. When the doctor said I have cancer, or because I have a stage 4 cancer, when they found out from the operation, that if, you know, usually the lifespan of the person with my condition has about 2 years to live. That's the average. And I don't think I belong to the average. I think it's my own belief, you know, my strength that I have to dig into is like, no, I'm strong, I'm fit, I'm healthy, you know, and I think I can deal with it. I want to deal with it because I want to live. And so I decided that I have to live strong. You fight it, and you live. And that's why I want to do that.
It's been about a month since Gary had his gastrectomy. The next step for him in his battle against cancer is chemotherapy. As chemotherapy often produces side effects like fatigue, nausea, pain, hair loss and anemia, Gary's food needs to have sufficient proteins, vitamins and minerals like iron. Coming up next, find out about what Gary should and should not include in his diet, and if organic food is truly healthier than regular food.
It's war, as Harvey Norman declares a price war. Shop at Harvey Norman to claim your victory. Explosively low prices on a Japanese brand 42-inch LCD TV at $699. Bosch 7-kilogram washer at $669. Samsung notebook at $699. And get up to $1,000 guaranteed cash back with your Victory Scratch cards. Charge to your Citibank card for free gifts. Storm into Harvey Norman now.
I can't sleep. I'm so tired, but I can't sleep.
"43-year-old Gary was diagnosed with stage 4 stomach cancer 2 months ago. He had a total gastrectomy, which means his stomach had to be removed. Post-operation, and Gary has become a pescatarian, someone who eats vegetables and no meat except for fish, in the hope that this will keep his body healthy. Because he no longer has a stomach, and hence no longer has an organ in his body to act as a receptacle to store food, Gary must eat in small portions 6 to 8 times a day. Each meal must contain lots of nutrients to fortify his body against the cancer. Fama Sunaja has been working with cancer patients at Parkway Cancer Center for the last 3 years. She carries out nutritional assessments for these patients, as well as holds workshops for various groups of patients to give them advice on how to modify their diets.
How are you doing?
When Fama arrived at Gary's flat, Gary was in the midst of preparing a snack of guacamole and quinoa for himself.
I have guacamole, so I have some avocado, lime, peppers, and tomato, basically, and then salt and pepper to taste. A little bit of cilantro for some fragrance in it. So
that's good. You have most of the antioxidants in it.
yeah.
Yeah, all the different vegetable, colorful.
So here I have like some because I'm trying to avoid as much wheat as possible. So I have like wheat free, and then they have some quinoa to get some protein inside.
Okay.
So
They will,
that's what we have.
right, they will provide you the carbohydrates as
Yeah.
well to give you some energy.
Yeah.
Without too much sugar.
Right.
Okay. Perhaps from here, things that can help you to get more protein would be maybe like boiled egg, for example.
Right.
Yeah, because you're now eating a small meal each time, so
Right.
each time has to be full of nutrients, and it has to be balanced as well. So you
Okay.
have the carbohydrate, you have all the vegetable, and you have the avocado, and you just have to improve a little bit on the protein.
Proteins are essential for cancer patients like Gary as they aid cell and muscle recovery. The main problem that Gary faces now is getting enough protein in his diet as he no longer eats meat, which actually provides a high amount of protein. To give Gary more insight into the kinds of protein-rich foods he should be consuming, Farmer takes Gary grocery shopping. And Gary discovers that, contrary to what he thinks, animal products like meat and eggs can actually be beneficial to him.
This is kampung chicken eggs. Okay, they are a lot smaller, as you can see, from the normal chicken eggs, but they are free from those growth hormones and antibiotics.
Kampung chicken eggs are a good source of protein because the chickens are reared in a manner that prevents harmful chemicals from entering the food.
The same principle applies to this kampung chicken, for example.
Right.
So if you're not keen on taking the normal chickens, you know, that you don't know how they've been grown, what they're fed on, this would be alternative, you know, to the protein.
Right.
Yeah.
So if I want to have like chicken, which I don't normally anyway, but this is what I'll go for, the kampung chicken.
Correct.
Right.
Yes.
They're not fed with all the growth hormones and everything like that.
Yes. So it can-
She also recommended him to nuts and fish as these are foods high in protein. Another reason why many people stop eating meat, especially when they have a condition like Gary's, is because while meat provides a high amount of protein, it also contains a high amount of fat. And it is a common belief that a diet high in fat greatly increases the risk of cancer. But does this belief actually hold water?
There isn't any direct link to say that high intake of fat leads to cancer. Yeah, there's so many other factors that come to play in terms of whether someone is having a high risk of getting a cancer. So total fat intakes probably contribute to just overall overweight, obesity. That could be one of the risks of getting cancer.
The link between dietary fat and cancer risk remains an ongoing debate in the medical community. And there is yet another point of controversy that surfaces regarding dietary fat. Many also believe that organic food is lower in fat content than regular non-organic food. To confirm this, two groups of food, organic and non-organic, were sent to a food laboratory to undergo tests for their fat content. We sent in cottage cheese, chicken, bread, beef and tofu, all of which are foods that can be found in the everyday household diet. The test results show that in bread and beef, the non-organic food had a significantly higher amount of fat. In non-organic bread, there were 9.4% of fats, while there were only 8% of fats in organic bread. In non-organic beef, there were 7.2% of fats, but only 6.3% of fats in organic beef. But some of the results were rather surprising. The fat content in organic chicken came up to 11.6%, only marginally lower than the fat content in non-organic chicken, which came up to 12%. And the most eyebrow-raising results were displayed in cottage cheese and tofu. 450 grams of regular cottage cheese contains 49 grams of fat. This is approximately the weight of 6 10-cent coins. Correspondingly, the same amount of organic cottage cheese contains a surprising 76 grams of fat, the equivalent of 9 10-cent coins. 300 grams of organic tofu contains 5% of fat, an equivalent of approximately 2 10-cent coins. The same amount of regular tofu contains fat equivalent to approximately 1 10-cent coin.
From the results of our test analysis, there is no discernible difference between the amount of fats that have been recovered from organic and non-organic foods.
Yet cancer patients like Gary very often switch their diets to comprise mostly, if not only, of organic food.
One of the things with regular foods that we eat, we never know what they use to feed the livestock, or what kind of water they use to water the vegetables and stuff like that. So there are a lot of things that may be bad that goes into food. And through my research and stuff like that, and you know, they feed a lot of growth hormones to animals, to chicken. You know, the eggs that you have, there's a lot of basically unhealthy things, a lot of chemicals that goes into the food. And because of my condition, I cannot take that anymore, you know, because I'm going to have chemo, I'm going to have a lot more poisons in me. It costs a little bit more, but I think on the long run, it's better for me.
The good things about having organic food is that you can be assured that they're pesticide-free, insecticide-free, free of chemicals. But also you need to know where this organic food comes from for the nutrients content in them.
Up next, Gary embarks on a culinary journey to discover that his meals can be healthy and sumptuous at the same time.
This is Channel News Asia. For the third year running, the MediaCorp Agency Reward and Recognition Awards 2011 commemorated the growth of media agencies in Singapore. The winning agencies, demonstrating the highest growth of contribution to advertising revenue at MediaCorp over the past financial year, were honoured. In the gold category, the top revenue award went to MPG Asia Pacific Private Limited, while the top growth winner was Vibes Communications. In the platinum category, the top revenue award went to Mindshare Singapore, while the top growth award was bagged by Zenith Optimedia.
We are extremely proud and happy that we have won this award through MediaCorp. We are extremely proud to receive this award because Vibes Communications is the only local brand who have won this award in this category in the history of MediaCorp.
MediaCorp is an amazing one of Asia's leading content providers on multi-platforms, delivering our clients great business results.
We find MediaCorp is a very effective platform in reaching our consumers and driving very effective marketing solutions.
Friday, 9 p.m. on Octo.
Sunday on The Green Deal.
We are determined to be the greenest government ever, bringing together both great research and development and innovative financing and an entrepreneurial business.
Join Channel News Asia's Augustine Athwan as he discovers Britain's eco-initiatives that are changing the way people live, work and trade. Sunday, 10:30 p.m. only on Channel News Asia.
Prior to being diagnosed with cancer, Gary could eat as he pleased.
When we have bouts of binging and we want to have a little bit extra fatty food, like say for example a nice piece of steak, or where we want to go and have nice desserts. On the weekends, then, you know, sometimes we'll splurge. Well, I'll go, my friends will have Japanese, or we'll go to some nice restaurants, some, you know, new restaurants, or even a Michelin star or two restaurants to eat, just to spoil ourselves.
Now, to be able to enjoy life, Gary has to eat right. Gary is something of an amateur chef, and to learn more about how to cook the right type of food for himself, he is learning from the professionals. Chef Diego Martinelli is the chef de cuisine of the Lighthouse restaurant at the Fullerton Hotel. As someone who has cooked for the Ferrari racing team back in his hometown of Italy, Chef Diego knows all about creating a meal that is both sumptuous and also beneficial for the body. Chef Diego has also conducted cooking classes for cancer patients before.
We have sat together with a dietitian and she came up with a food that, in this case, the patient Gary can have and cannot have. And upon her description, we decided what food to cook for Gary, upon his needs, really. The purpose of today is actually to show the patient and to show everyone at home that we could do healthy and good food also, which is necessarily not that difficult to cook.
Hi.
Hey.
With that, Chef Diego begins with the preparation of the first dish, a pan-seared pistachio crusted tuna with a salad on the side.
Okay, I'm going to show you how to do some tuna. It's quite easy to do.
Okay.
The ingredients of this dish include tuna loin, carrots, zucchini, oranges, black olives and pistachios. First up, the preparation of the tuna, which provides the high-quality protein which Gary needs, as well as good minerals like omega-3, vitamin B, potassium and magnesium. Next, the vegetables, which will act as antioxidants that combat free radicals said to cause cancer.
And so you don't really have to thinly slice?
No, because I want to cook, say, a couple of minutes each side.
Okay.
So the texture of it is also nicer. It doesn't feel too mushy. I like the vegetable to be a bit crunchy because it retains much more of the protein and the goodness that they have in it.
The tuna and zucchinis are cooked in olive oil.
Yeah, I can actually really...
Once the tuna is cooked, it is placed onto a plate of pistachio, finely chopped so it will be easier for digestion, and coated in it.
So let's take the carrot out.
While the carrots are boiling, Chef Diego and Gary keep busy by preparing the other ingredients to be used in the salad.
Nice orange full of vitamin C. Take off the skin. And then we need segment. This will be for our salad.
Chef Diego also uses lemon zest and olive oil to make a dressing for the salad, a much healthier alternative to the richer salad dressings on the market.
You can try having a bit of here. And that's a dish.
Ooh, it looks really good.
Gary loves eating desserts, and despite his cancer, he finds out that he does not need to stop eating desserts. He just needs to eat the right kind of dessert. Chef Diego is preparing a dessert that consists of balsamic vinegar, sautéed strawberries, crumble and vanilla ice cream.
I'm going to show you how to do a warm dessert, strawberries, okay?
Okay.
Strawberries are fruits which provide vitamins and antioxidants. They have to be chopped into smaller pieces as well so that they will be easier for Gary's body to digest. They are then sautéed in a pan with very small amounts of butter and sugar, as too much of these will not be good for Gary. Shortbread biscuits, which have been pounded to smaller crumbles, and a small portion of vanilla ice cream, which provides protein, are added to the dessert. Balsamic vinegar is then drizzled over the dish to give it added flavoring.
So we get the...
Bittersweet.
Bittersweet, yeah.
And that's your dessert ready. As easy as that.
It's easy. It's really, really good. I like the freshness of the tuna, where there's not too much seasoning and I can really taste it. And it's really nice and pink and it's not overcooked. But at the same time, it gives... The pistachio gives a nice fragrance to it. And yeah, I really like it. It's easy to cook. Because like I told you just now, I cook a lot as well. So this is another way of preparing tuna. Watching you cook, I learned a lot of, learned different tips and tricks and how to make my cooking better.
A, affordable, and two, is very, very easy to replicate at home. There's nothing to require big skill around actually.
Right.
Want to try dessert then?
Yes, that's what I'm waiting for. So.
Let's share.
It's really good. I mean, I like the balsamico with the strawberries, and then it's not so tart because now that you put the sugar and you caramelize it with the butter. To say that this is like one of the better meals I've had in a while because of my condition. So thank you so much for preparing this meal.
Thank you very much.
I really enjoyed it so much.
Thank you very much. Cheers.
All right, thanks.
Kim's body is unable to produce normal hemoglobin in the blood. She is born with thalassemia major.
Without blood transfusions, they will die.
What should patients with this inherited disease avoid eating?
Iron content in this cereal is 45% per serving.
Coping with Thalassemia Major on the final episode of The Medical Touch. Wednesday, 8:30 p.m. on Channel News Asia.